I'm Science TOSA Christina Skaggs, and this is TWIG time. Today our focus is Grade 1, Module 1, Museum of Leafology. We thought it would be helpful to go ahead and look through the TWIG Science kits to find out what materials you're going to be needing for each lesson. The first lesson that you're going to be doing is Be a Scientist. The students are going to explore how to investigate and to ask questions like real scientists would do. Before you start any of your driving questions, please make sure to print out your word wall cards. These are going to be helpful in getting you through the lessons and being able to discuss with students. When you're looking for your kits for each module, just go ahead and make sure that you have the title here, Museum of Leafology, and then this one says Module 1.1. You're going to be able to use all of these items in your kit for each lesson that it's a hands-on lesson. So let's go ahead and take a look. Inside your kit, you're going to have a list of materials that is helpful for you to take a look at before you do each lesson. The materials will tell you which lesson you're going to need the materials for. For example, if you have driving question number 1, we have for lesson 1, all the check mark boxes, those are the things that you're going to have to pull out from your kit. Before you begin this lesson, there's one other thing that you need to make sure that you do for the following lessons. So in your kit, you're going to have some trays. The teacher is going to have to pull out 2 trays to start with, and you're going to plant some pea pod seeds so that your students can observe these in later lessons. And next, you're just going to add some water. You might want to have one of your students be in charge of taking this outside daily so that they can get some sun, and the students will use this in a later lesson. This particular seed planting is done by the teacher because the students are going to be doing their own seed planting in lesson 4 for driving question 1. For lesson number 1, students are going to be exploring what it's like to be a scientist. You're going to give them a nice exploration activity where you're going to be able to put some living and non-living things into a tray for them to explore. TWIG Science asks you to collect some things that are living and non-living. Some examples could be leaves, or we have some grass, flowers, anything that you can grab from outside your school site. Also, students are going to need some things that are non-living, right? So we have example of a scissors, a dice, a bookmark, and some stickers. You can use whatever you'd like to put into your trays for your students, but the idea is that they're going to be using their scientific tools from the kit, such as the tweezers and the magnifying glasses. Now, each student group should have about 2 tweezers and about 2 magnifying glasses. I know it's going to differ between how many students each teacher has in their class. We found that this lesson works best in groups of 4, and this is what it might look like.
My mom and dad say, can't touch one of these.
After the students get done exploring their trays and asking questions and talking about it, they're going to be completing this, what makes something living, and then they're going to be doing the pre-exploration page. This brings us to lesson 2. In this lesson, students are going to be doing a card sort to make meaning of what they're learning. All right, so in your kit for this lesson, you're going to find the pack of the living cards, and the students are going to have to sort these into 3 different groups. Now, this works best in groups of 4, and it's easy to separate the cards before you get started. Here's an example of how the cards come in the plastic bag in the box. We found it helpful that if you're able to sort the cards ahead of time for each group, it really makes a big difference. So as you can see, all these cards are different. Some are living, some are non-living. Once you get to the little blue divider or colored paper divider, that means that this is one group for one group of 4 students. You may want to separate them into plastic baggies for each group, and on the back of each card, maybe number each card for each group. That way, if they get lost, we'll be able to find where they go back to. Okay, so students may be finding it hard to sort because there are animals and there are plants and there is a human. So if they sort them into 3 different categories, you're going to want to have them discuss why they chose to put them this way. For example, if they put the frog and the otter together, they're going to have to say that they believe that both of these are animals. And then this here is a plant. And a human is different than a plant and an animal. As students are sorting, you're not going to want to tell them which groups to put the cards into. The idea is that you're looking at their thinking as they decide what's going to go with what. You have some things that are non-living, so that might be a group as well. After the students are done with their card sort for lesson 2, you're going to want to have them discuss how they sorted their cards. They then can complete the activity here to reflect. And there's also an extension activity where they're looking at 2 bears and deciding how they compare and contrast. Moving on to lesson 3 for module 1 for driving question 1, the students are going to be going on a nature exploration. Now in this lesson, they're not going to need anything from the kits, but it would be helpful if each student or each group of students had their own iPad to take pictures, because students are going to be walking outside to take pictures of different plants that they find that they're interested in. So they're going to be asking some questions of what do you see? What do you smell? What does it feel like? And then when you come back to the classroom, the students are going to be able to share their plant pictures. Now, the alternative to this is if students don't have iPads per each group, you could possibly use computers, or if you take a nature walk with your whole class or maybe groups of students, the teacher could be the one taking the pictures. Now, students have been gathering information as they've been observing different seeds, observing different plants, and now they're actually going to be doing the hands-on part where they're going to plant their own seeds. For lesson 4, entitled Sleepy Seeds, here are the things that you're going to need from your kit. First, it's helpful for each group of students to have a large cup full of soil, so we'll show you what that looks like. It's also helpful to give the students a small cup for watering after they're finished planting. And the seeds that are going to be used for this particular lesson are the squash seeds, the radish seeds, the sunflower seeds, and the sweet basil. There are some other seeds that are in your kit that look like this. These seeds are going to be used for a later lesson when we're talking about how seeds move. As you can see, these seeds are ones that could possibly be caught in an animal's fur. These seeds could fly away very quickly. So make sure that you're using the edible seeds, as they're going to be used in a later lesson as well. 2 other things that you're going to need for this lesson 4 are paper clips and some index cards so that the students can label their seeds and put their name on it so they know whose is whose. And last but not least, obviously students are going to need their seed trays. Now, each student is going to get a section of 3 seed trays, so you can just go ahead and rip them apart like this, and each student will have their own, and they're going to plant a couple different seeds in each compartment. Each group, depending on if you decide that you're going to want 2 students in a group or 4 students in a group, each group is going to need 1 tray, 1 paper clip, and you can go ahead and split the index card in half because they're going to use this to go ahead and write down their name. And then if you would like, they can glue a picture or glue a piece of seed here or just write the name. So they can go ahead and write their name on their paper, Miss Skaggs, and they can write, if they're going to be planting basil, they can write basil. So let's just go ahead and write basil there. And then that way they'll know. The seeds are really tiny, so it might be hard to glue them on. Another option would be to tape a picture of the seed so that the students can see what it looked like from the beginning. Next, students are going to go ahead and observe their seeds. So what you can do is just go ahead and open up the seed packet and give them a few seeds to take a look at. It might be best to put it down on a piece of paper or paper towel. The students are going to talk about their seeds. They're going to describe what they see. They're going to talk about the color and talk about the size. Now, each group is going to have a different type of seed to plant, whether it be the basil or the radish or the squash or the sunflower. The idea is the students will be able to see the seed grow over time and then eventually maybe be able to have a little taste. It's helpful to have the soil already pre-portioned into these larger cups here, and then each group of students will get a cup of water. Whatever works best for you, if you decide you want to use a cup or a spray bottle or just have the kids take it to the sink. We found it's helpful that you put down some paper towels underneath and maybe use a tray, as these are going to have to go out every day to get some sunlight. Another option is to have students use gloves. If they'd like, they can use the gloves in order to pack the soil down if they're not comfortable just using their hands. Let's go put this outside so it can have some sun. After students plant their seeds, they're going to want to record their data. Remind them that scientists do experiments, but we have to make sure to record what we do. So they're going to record the age, 0. They're going to draw a photo, or if you have them to do a drawing, they're going to make a description of what they see and talk about the height and the number of leaves that they see. You'll be doing this throughout the rest of the next couple of lessons so that the students can continue to fill out their chart and see how their plants are growing. The last part of lesson 4 is where the students write a reflection. How are plants like other living things? Also, don't forget to make sure that you are hitting those word wall words and putting those in a space where students can use them for later lessons. This concludes driving question number 1 for grade 1, module 1, Museum of Leafology.